All right, so today what we're going to do for our last lesson of drawing the cell phone holder is we are going to take what we drew last time, which was the cell phone mount, and we attached it to the small piece for the cell phone mount. Um, we're going to take that and we're going to move it and attach it to the rest of the project. So when we're done, it is going to look like this. The parts that are highlighted in blue are the parts that we are going to move so that they are on the surface of the vertical piece. And then once that's done, we're going to add our little cell phone over here on the end. So let's get started. I'm going to go back to drawing. And so what I'm going to do is just zoom out and pan my camera so that I have both projects in view. And another thing I'm going to do, I think, for now is just delete some of my labels so that we don't have a crowded drawing. I saw your measurements already for the previous drawing, so you should be okay for that. So we're going to pan around so that we can see both drawings. And what I'm going to do is use my, let me highlight. I'm going to use my arrow tool. And we're going to highlight everything that you see that we want to move. And once you have that highlighted, we're going to go to our move tool. I'm going to click our move tool. And for right now, I'm just going to move it closer to the rest of our project so that then I can zoom in and really hone in on where I want it to be. So I did that just by left clicking, moving it where I wanted it, and left clicking again. So we're going to keep that around here. And now I'm going to go back to my orbit tool. I'm going to pan closer to where I want to be. And here's where I can start getting things honed in to where I want it. So I'm going to go back to the move tool. And I'm going to grab the corner. Okay, so if you see where the blue dot is right there, I want to grab that corner so that I can mount it to the surface of the vertical piece here. If I grab this corner and I go to move it, then I'm kind of guessing at where it is in reference to the vertical piece. So I'm going to hit escape. Oh. Highlight my mouse again. So I'm going to grab this corner here, click once, left click once, and then I'm going to move it over, and it should actually snap against the surface of the vertical piece. And you should see the little bubble that popped out. It says on the edge of the vertical piece. Okay, that's what we want. Now you can determine if you want it to sit higher, you can move it up and down. But what I'm looking for in your drawing, and I'm going to left click to put that in place. What I'm looking for in your drawing is that these two pieces are even with the edge of the vertical piece. So it shouldn't be over to the right and it shouldn't be over to the left. Okay, so this looks good. It's at a good spot. If you wanted it higher or lower, you can do that. Whatever your preference is, that is fine. So I'm going to hit escape here and I'm just going to use my arrow tool and just click somewhere else so that everything isn't highlighted anymore. So now that that's installed, the last thing I want to do is put in our cell phone. So to do that, on the right hand side, this toolbar over here, you're going to go to this part, this icon here that says components. And you get a search bar for a 3D warehouse. And what these are components that users have created and shared with the community of Google SketchUp users. So I'm going to type cell phone and hit enter. And you see there's a lot of different options here. I'm going to go with the one that I chose. And the reason I went with that one is because it started out as vertical. I'm sorry, it started out as horizontal instead of vertical. There are ways to rotate and move objects horizontally, vertically, but instead of complicating things, I want to go with one that's laying flat and not up and down. So on the second page, I went with the one that says Cell Phone by Nathan G. I'm going to left click that and you see it downloads the model. And then when you move your cursor over, it will let you decide if you want to move and put the cell phone on the surface of the object. So you see the drop down that says on face in cell phone mount. So I'm just going to left click right there. And it's on the surface, but I want to rotate it. So let's look at our toolbar over here. And this icon here is our rotate. So we're going to see what we can do with that. Let's try and click the origin right here. So I left clicked it once and I'm going to turn it 90 degrees. Let's try and see what that does. Okay, so that is going to put it so that we can rotate it. So that's kind of what we want. We want the origin of where we placed it. And then if you noticed, I brought the green line out. And now I'm not clicking again. Whoops. Let's try this again. So we have our rotate tool. We're going to click the origin, left click once. And then I'm going to bring my green line out to here, left click again. Now it's going to allow me to pivot. And once you see the red line show up, you see how it's snapped and there's a red line. Now I'm going to left click. Okay. So now I'm rotated in the right spot. Now I just want to move it a little better into position. So now I'm going to go to my move tool and we should be able to just click the surface. Yep. And we can move it somewhere right about there. And when we left click again, that puts us where we want to be. I'm going to go to my arrow tool and click away so that it's not selected in blue. And then just use your orbit tool to inspect. Make sure everything looks good, looks like it's the way you want it. All right. And so that will complete your drawing. And so what I want to see for your final drawing, for what you submit for your final drawing, is something like this. You can give me a screenshot so I can see the entire project, okay? And then just send me a closer up screenshot of your joining surfaces so that I can see that they are even on the edge where it mounts to the vertical piece. Okay, so one screenshot looking something like this, one screenshot panned out looking something like this, and that will complete your drawing of our cell phone holder.